Hey, whatever. On to the video. Do you remember that time where I made a couple of videos about making an alternator bracket for my Jeep? If you remember, it was the one where I was like super geeked out about welding and whatnot.
Yes, baby! Yes!
That crack is normal. But anyways, as we saw in the last episode of the You Can Tune series, Buddy actually needs a new alternator. I must have been on the Zaza because I decided the best course of action would be to not only use a different style alternator, but also attempt to swap pulleys so we get higher amp output at a lower engine RPM. That side quest lasted about 30 minutes before I gave up and just decided to full send as is. I didn't even get any footage of me trying to actually, get the pulley off. Biggest thing that seemed to be of concern here was how high the new alternator was sitting inside the hood. But, just trust me, bro. It fits. Trying to reuse this bracket means that we need to start by taking the unneeded stuff off first. Luckily for me, I was actually able to save one of the bolt holes, so that way the new style of alternator will still be properly aligned for the belt. Now the other side of the bracket? Yeah, I just hacked off as much as I thought was going to be appropriate. This right here made things interesting. The bolt was not long enough, but this wide setup will allow for a wide mounting point. So now that I've actually hacked everything off, here's a peek of what it looks like. This wide setup will do well, and it's really easy to grind the brackets down here on either side. Ended up giving myself some really nice slips to weld on. The really interesting piece is going to be me trying to weld these tabs inside the bracket. Here's the first set of welds that I did up. You can see that there is one spot where I actually laid down some dimes. Of course, we totally boogered up the welds on the tabs that actually hold the alternator. You already know I'm the reason they say a grinder and paint makes you the welder you ain't. I'm fairly certain that I got proper penetration, but the fact that I'm not sure probably shows why I can't keep a girlfriend. Now, this different style of alternator that I'm using is actually externally regulated, so just gave the regulator a home, easy peasy, not to wire it all up. Now, I did draw myself out a diagram of how everything is set up, but let's see if we can redraw and re-explain it for you. Now, the alternator has the positive pin, the ground pin, and then the field pin. On our voltage regulator, the pins that we actually care about are the field pin, the accessory pin, and the battery positive pin. Both the voltage regulator and the alternator have a field pin. Connect those together. Both of them also have a battery positive pin. Connect both of those, to battery positive. And then finally, on your alternator, you've got the ground pins. Make sure those go to battery negative. And then again, finally, on your voltage regulator, you're going to want to make sure that that accessory pin, that gets power whenever you turn the key on and you're about to run your engine. So like ignition, the same wire you use for your ignition is going to work for you here. That's it, wire it up and go to town. Now, I would imagine that if you did this right, this whole setup would look a lot better. Currently, my goals are just to learn now so that way I can do better later. I've got wire holders made of zip ties. Honestly, the whole engine bay has horrid wiring. I'm honestly not sure how this thing hasn't set on fire yet. Well, only one thing left to learn. But that's a video for another time. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I'll always be here, doing my goofy goober thing. I do have a strange obsession with Jeeps after all, but anyways, I digress. Really appreciate you checking out the video. Bye-bye.